were just informed of some tragic news inside the wrestling community that Jay Briscoe has passed away. We want to take this moment to send our condolences to his friends and his family.
All right, welcome to another episode of Jumping the Rail here from Champaign, Illinois. This is season 2, episode 12, I believe it is. And this is Mark Reb coming to you, and as usual, joined by my tag team partner Gary Vastelio. Gary, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing. Waiting for the snow to hit tomorrow and working from home. No snow days anymore.
Yeah. No, I have to trudge out in it myself. Hey, Gary, we got a third partner in the booth today. It's our buddy from the Zero-1 Shootout podcast on the JTR Podcast Network. It's our buddy Menders. Menders, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Mark. Gary, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we're glad you came on. It's good to get some extra perspectives on this one. Up until about 7:30 p.m. last Tuesday, I was planning on this episode being all about the Royal Rumble and previewing what's going to happen Saturday. But after the news came down last week, I figured it was appropriate that we make this one a tribute to Jamin Pugh. You guys all know him as Jay Briscoe. And as we all know, he passed away in a car accident last week. Just shocked everybody. I mean, I don't know anybody that wasn't stunned when that happened. Actually, I heard it from you, Gary. I think you're the one that sent me the message about it. Because
yeah, it's wrestling is such a tough sport to be a fan of. Like, I remember vividly. I was a working adult. When did Eddie Guerrero die?
October of 2005.
Yeah, working adult that was married. And when I found out, like, Eddie died, because we weren't exactly, like, I think I saw it, somebody messaged me or something, like, I cried like a little baby. Like, he was probably still my favorite wrestler of all time. I had grown up with him and watched him, and he was still just killing it and turning his life around. And I remember, like, I cried on the way home, and then that Raw that night was just, like, I cried all the way through it. And it was one of the things that I lost on one of my many, like, when one of my DVRs just imploded.
Oh.
But I remember, I couldn't even go back and watch it. Like, I would, every time, it was just awful. And so, like, I feel for, because I like the Briscoes, but not as much as you guys do. But it's just like, it's a hard sport to be a fan of if you fall in love with the wrestler and the character, and because, man, it's so hard on their bodies, and then you have stuff like this. It just comes out of absolutely nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's not his fault. It's somebody else's fault completely.
Yeah, it's there was speculation all over the place all week long. Apparently, just like you said, just the driver went across the center line, just caught him head on, and there's no preparing for that. But
Yeah.
we don't know the name of the other driver who was killed. But of course, good thoughts to their family also. Uh, as of right now, both of Jay's daughters, Gracie and JJ, I believe are their names. Yeah, I apologize if I got it wrong. They're both still, I think they're still in the hospital. Both of them had pretty significant operations last week. Uh, sounds like they're gonna pull through. It's gonna be all right. But it's just so crazy to think about because it's like you said. I mean, we even if you go back to and like I also remember when Eddie died because I was working at Walmart and I got home and I heard about it after the fact and it's one of those things where he was on the road. He was by himself. He wasn't at home. He wasn't with the family or anything. So it was shocking enough when that happened. But at this point, Jay's just at home being dad, and just doing his thing. I think he was driving the girls home from cheerleading or gymnastics, one of those extracurriculars. And yeah, just out of the blue. And car accident, it hits home with me especially. So uh, all of our good thoughts are out to his family. His wife, Ashley, I believe is her name. She's been keeping everybody posted on the girls' situation. Uh, and there was a point made. Bully Ray talked about and busted open. He said that now is the time for everybody to rally around his brother, Mark, because I mean, and not just for the 20 some years they've been a tag team. I mean, these guys are barely a month apart in age. Mark's birthday was last Wednesday. Jay's birthday is tomorrow, and Jay was a year older. So it's just these guys are like everybody that I know thought they were twin brothers.
Yeah, I
So
always thought they were twins, to be honest, because they.
but yeah. So hopefully, and the news came down today. Gary, Mark is actually going to work on Dynamite tomorrow, wrestling Jay Lethal, which hats off to Tony Khan for that, making that happen. It shouldn't have taken that long to get either one of them on TV, but that's an issue with Time Warner. But
I mean, I think it's kind of like we talked about. Was it last week about, or last time about if the WWE gets sold, and then you have to worry about what that network, and that's
yeah,
I imagine that's what Tony's dealing
I,
with
oh yeah,
is just the network saying, well, these guys have had a kind of checkered, colorful past, and we don't exactly want them on our. And so Tony, I mean, to his credit, he put the titles back on them. And he's like, you know what? I have another promotion, and you may not want
right,
them on your TV, but I want them on mine.
right.
I want to, he signed them back to contracts,
Hmm.
and so like it's. I'm sure he fought for this. I'm sure he went to bat and said, you have to let me
Hmm.
do this.
Yeah,
And
because not just for the family. I mean, the majority of AEW fans are Ring of Honor fans from way back, and then probably a good three-quarters of his locker room are Ring of Honor talent at some time or another. So, I mean, I think he did that for a lot of different people to get that done. So, hats off to him for that. Minders, let's bring you in. We're kind of keeping you out. Sorry.
Oh
Uh,
no, that's perfectly fine because you know a lot more of the details than I do. So
yeah, I'm trying to keep up on it. There's a lot to digest here. Uh, I want to do something. Well, first off, I'm going to ask you, where were you at home when you got the news about this?
I was at home, and I don't even remember who sent me a message, or I just saw it on Facebook, and I went straight to tears. I just started bawling. I'm like, "You're kidding me! This can't be real. You're ribbing me." And it's like, "Why is Tony Khan putting this up? Blah blah blah." And
Mm,
then the more I did research, I was like, "You seriously?" And just I was a mess.
yeah, it was. My wife told me that like I was trying not to show that it was bothering me. But yeah, I've probably sat for at least a half hour just silent, just on the couch. But one thing I wanted to do in this, and we're gonna do the best we can with this, with between technology, but I wanted to actually show a couple things on here because I have the video capabilities here. So I want to play some of the some Briscoe promos over the course of the show, just kind of because there might be some people that aren't real familiar with their stuff that didn't watch a lot of Ring of Honor. So this is the one that's probably gotten the most conversation in the last week. So enjoy.
Reach for the sky, boy.
This Friday night in Cincinnati, Ohio, we got us one hell of a match. We putting our tag straps on the line against Kyle O'Reilly and Davey Richards. Team Jiu-Jitsu. Team MMA. It's crazy when you think about it, man. MMA done took over the world. MMA is the biggest shit going right now.
Taking airtime from my boxing, man.
Well, yeah. MMA done took over. And I got all the respect in the world for the people that do MMA. But the shit that pisses me off, when you got Johnny Badass walking to the bar with his little tap-out shirt on. He went to the gym for 2 weeks so his little muscles popped out a little bit. And he think he's God's gift to women. He walking around like his shit don't stink. I guarantee you one of y'all little tap-out boys bring that shit down here to Sandford, you'll be lucky to get out of this bitch alive. Now, Davey and Kyle, I ain't saying that y'all that type of people. But you got Davey Richards walking around with his little title belt and a mouthpiece in. This pro wrestling, son.
Hey, brother, hey, Terry Funk ain't wearing no mouthpiece.
Hell no, Terry Funk ain't wearing no damn mouthpiece. Bruiser Brody ain't wearing no mouthpiece. Doing your little jiu-jitsu, getting focused and shit. Talking about I'm focused. I'm kicking this bag, I'm focused for my match. Shit, that's where we different, boys. We a different type of people. We ain't got time to be focused. Focused. Shit, we live on a farm. We got to get shit done. We ain't got time to walk around being focused. Does it look like stable thoughts go through my mind? Do I look like a rational thinker to you? This guy, I guarantee you, he ain't no rational thinker. Shit, we walk in there on Dr. Phil, he shit is. Damn, son.
My bad, I thought you was finished.
Oh, you killed that Jim?
Yeah, man.
Damn.
We ain't talking. Let me unload my boss.
I think it's one more. No. Now where was it? Ah, shit, where the hell was it? Last time we got in a fight at the bar with the tap-out boys. Long story short, they tried to put us in an arm bar and get this shit. They tried to do a UFC move in the damn bar. Long story short, beer mug to the back of the head, and they girlfriends talk about we cheated. See, all I know, they was getting carried out of that bitch, and we was sitting there drinking Yingling, waving bye to them bitches.
Hey, man, I thought we was talking about Davey and Kyle.
Davey and Kyle, yeah, Davey and Kyle. Hold it for me, Chinny. Davey and Kyle, yes sir. Team Jiu-Jitsu, Team MMA. Big match this Friday. Big match down Cincinnati. Y'all boys get you a few extra little laps in on the treadmill and shit. Do a few more bag kicks or whatever you want to do. I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna smoke this Brutal Bob. Mark's gonna drink that beer. And this Friday night, we gonna whoop y'all's ass. And there ain't a damn thing y'all gonna do about it.
If there's not a promo that kind of just totally encapsulates the Briscoe brothers at that point, I don't think there's a better one. Everybody's been quoting that Terry Funk ain't wear no mouthpiece all week long.
Yep.
And I hadn't seen that promo probably since it happened. I think that was like 10 or 11 years ago. And I forgot about the gun. I put it back on. So let's talk a little bit about Jay's character, about just the presentation of the Briscoes. And I've seen them all. There's a few versions of it. Let me see here. We got the original Briscoes. Look at that. See, such nice boys and their singlets and everything.
Aww.
Hey, you'll appreciate this, Menders. Who's that guy?
That's corny.
Yep, they used to be corny guys. And then, then they moved on to the boxing trunks here, which I always thought that was a cool look. They always had the cool trunks and all that. Then eventually they go to here. Got the camo, the kind of embracing more of the farmer look a little bit, you can see also in the course of all those pictures, they've done everything. There's Ring of Honor I'm gonna run this down just because I think it has to be mentioned. Some of the stuff that he accomplished here. 2-time Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. Second guy to ever do that after Austin Aries did it. Also, for my money, probably my favorite ROH World Champion. Just I loved his title run. Amazing 13-time World Tag Team Championship in Ring of Honor with Mark. And it seemed like they were the go-to. They were kind of like what Tommy Dreamer would have been in ECW. Like, in case of emergency, break glass, if the All Night Express are splitting up, if the Young Bucks are taking off, put the belts on the Briscoes and everything's going to be all right, They held the ROH World Six-Man Tag Team Championship with Bully Ray once. That was actually a pretty cool feud between the Briscoes and Bully and Tommy. IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championship one time back in 2016. Never Openweight Six-Man Tag Team Championship with Toru Yano. That guy. There he is. That guy. I don't know where to start with Yano. Let's see. We saw the picture Impact World Tag Team Champions right there. They did that last year. The GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Championships in Noah, the back mid-2000s, 06, 07. CZW World Tag Team Championship 2 times. 3-time GCW Tag Champs. That's the last time I saw them work was they were defending those titles in Chicago last year. And then they won the Crockett Cup last year in the NWA. So that's not even everything. That's just the high spots in their resume. And of course the tag team titles, with his brother Mark, but he held like in Jersey All Pro, he had another partner at one point, because the thing to remember when they started in about 2000. Jay was 16, Mark was 15. So Mark wasn't working everywhere. If Jay was working Ring of Honor in 02, Mark was usually in his corner, unless they went to like Boston because the age was lowered so he could work. But it was Jay, I believe, was in the first ever Ring of Honor match with Amazing Red. So literally, when they say they won, he literally was one of the first things that ROH fans saw was Jay Briscoe. And eventually, about a year later, they started teaming up because they feuded for the first 6 or 8 months down there. But yeah, it was crazy because when they're young, when they're teenagers and they got the accents and all that, and you think they're trying to be street kids almost, because you don't know their backstory, you don't know they're from a chicken farm in Delaware. But as they got older and they kind of filled out, and then start doing the promos on the farm, then you kind of get a really good idea of what their character is. And I always thought Mark was a little bit over the top. I mean, believe it or not, but I think Jay Briscoe had probably the most legit character in wrestling for a long time. Because when you watch him talk, it looks like he means every word. He reminds you a lot of an Arn Anderson that way. And everybody knows how much I love Double A, but I mean, he's not talking just like Arn, but when Jay would talk, when he'd cut a promo, you believed what he was saying because he had that look in his eye and he had that tone. So that's why I think that's why I was always a really big fan of his work. Gary, we always talk about being legit in your character, so I think Jay fits the bill on that one.
Yeah, it's something that's lost. Like, there's so many people now that they play a character or they play at being a character, and they just like never get it over because I mean, you don't have to be you all the time. I mean, that's part of acting and that's part of the business. But like, the closer you can get to your natural self, the more it's going to come across. Like, Stone Cold wasn't actually Stone Cold, but Steve Austin had his rough edges, and he's a Texas boy, and he liked to drink beer, and he definitely didn't mind swearing. And you know, when DDP went from being the cocky rich guy to being like basically just a dude from Jersey that had a lot of heart, like he took off. And honestly, like, when was Scott Hall and Kevin Nash their most over? When they stopped being Diesel and Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
And they kind of were just the guys who came in for the money, because that's kind of who they were at the time.
There's no kinda about it.
So, like, some of the greatest characters of all time that got over the most, like, were because they just kind of embraced themselves. And it's a lost, it really is a lost art. And because you can't, you know, people worry, like, if I don't get this over, that means they don't like me. It's not they don't like the character, it's they don't like me. And everybody seemed to really like the Briscoes. I haven't heard, like I said, they had rough edges, but you know, I know a lot of farmers. Farmers aren't the smoothest people on the entire planet. They have plenty of rough edges. I remember going,
Guilty.
we had a little diner in Bismarck where all the farmers would gather and drink their coffee in the morning and smoke a bunch of cigarettes. And the language was colorful, and the jokes were also
Blue?
colorful, a little blue. And this would be at like 5 a.m. You know, like they'd be like, they would all be there, and then they go do their job, and you'd see them at the hardware store later, like smoking cigarettes, telling stories. And that's what the Briscoes remind me of. Just guys that work hard all day, and then they go hang out, you know, at the local watering hole. But then you find out, you know, in real life, like, they were those guys, but they were also kind of like, you know, other farmer trades, is
Right.
very, very dedicated to their family, very dedicated to their craft. They loved wrestling. Farmers love to be in the dirt.
Right.
As much as they'll complain about it, they love every second of it. So they made a very smart decision in being themselves, but they also amplified themselves and made it larger than life. And I still to this day don't understand how they were never, like, they had some opportunities, but it was like lower end opportunities for WWE. I remember my buddy Josh, like, he was the guy that would watch everything, and he caught on to Ring of Honor. And he was just, because he was a tag team wrestler at the time, and he would just nonstop talk about the Briscoes, how good the Briscoes were. And that was a long time ago. That was like, you know, back with Punk and all that. That was years and years and years ago. And he just talked about how good these guys were. And that was when they were young dudes. And so it's a testament to them, because they were successful. They managed to be successful, basically higher end independent wrestlers.
Yeah.
Like, they made their money. They were able to work all these places, and they never had to leave, because they were just, like you said, they were cornerstones. And so they just didn't worry about it, seemingly.
Yeah. And also the thing to remember is they, you know, they worked on the farm full time for their, like, this is their family farm. So they would be up at 4:35 in the morning, getting the eggs and taking care of the chickens and everything. But I'm waiting for something to process here, because Gary, you are quite the segue artist. I don't know if you know that, if I ever told you that. But I think it's a good time to go to another promo. This kind of goes along with what you were saying. So let's check this out.
Reach for the sky, boy.
Let me tell y'all why we don't like Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. You see, the majority of pro wrestling fans look at tag teams from Monday night. You know, they put them up on this pedestal just because they was on Monday Night Raw. Briscoes ain't never been on there. They must be down here. World's greatest tag team, hooray! Monday Night Raw, my ass. That's the #1 reason why we don't like Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, because people, the average wrestling fan, the majority of wrestling fans, not all of them, but the majority of wrestling fans put them above the Briscoes by default. Now let me tell y'all a story. About 2 years ago, about 2 years, was it? Two and a half years ago, we had a little tryout match for WWE. It was before a SmackDown taping in Philadelphia. We went in there, had a little tryout, you know, did our thing, whatever. I guess they was impressed because they invited us down to Florida for a week at their little FCW Developmental Center.
All expenses paid.
All expenses paid in the Hyatt, chilling. But either way, we was down there, you know, had a little tryout. We was down there for a week. I thought things went good.
And that's what they said too.
We thought it went real good down there. And everybody was telling us, yeah, y'all doing real good. Y'all might get these contracts. This was 2 years ago. I'm just seeing dollar signs. They talking about y'all might get these contracts. So, you know, we're waiting around. We get back home, we waiting. I'm telling all my boys, like, yeah, we did it down there. We getting ready to all be eating. It's gonna be on our tag. We done did it down there, boys. You know, we hype. I'm telling my wife she ain't never gonna have to work again. You know, she can quit bartending. We got this. You know, so we wait, a month go by, another couple months, we get a phone call. Apparently, the Briscoes are not cosmetically pleasing enough for the WWE. That exact words.
Come on now.
Exact words. Cosmetically pleasing. Well, excuse me, Mr. John Laurinaitis, I forgot this was a damn beauty contest. Cosmetically pleasing my ass.
Preach, brother.
And the thing that got me, man, the boys down in developmental, I mean, yeah, you got some good ones, of course. Mainly the people from ROH, but the majority of them weren't even really that nice. You know what I'm saying? I mean, shoot, they come right out of modeling school, right off of the Tough Man contest where they show their little muscles and shit. They walk right into developmental, sign a little deal, you know, train in developmental for a few months. Then next thing you know, they're on TV, they're millionaires.
Hey, what happened to paying your dues, brother?
What the hell happened to paying your dues?
What happened to paying your dues?
You know, we broke in old school about 12 years ago. For y'all young boys, about 12 years ago, I remember setting up the chairs, setting up the ring before the show, a bullshit indie show that's gonna be about 40 people there, and I'd be hype as a bitch. You remember that, setting up them chairs?
And getting cussed out because we ain't set them up straight enough.
Well, yeah, getting the ring ready and everything, hype, getting ready to wrestle in front of 40 people. Y'all have no idea what that's like. Y'all can't even relate to that. Back in the day, coming up through the indies, grinding your way up. But no, we're not cosmetically pleasing enough to get paid. I guess that's what they're trying to tell us. That's what they trying to tell us. Charlie Haas, I guess you spent a couple weeks on the indies, grinding your way through. Shit, Shelton Benjamin, you the main kind of type of dude we talking about.
How many rings you done set up now, Shelton?
How many rings you set up, Shelton?
How many rows of chairs you done put out there, Shelton?
If Final Battle, if this show, Friday Night Final Battle, depended on Shelton Benjamin setting up the ring and setting up all the chairs, it wouldn't be no show. It won't be no damn show because he don't know what the hell he doing. He ain't paid his damn dues in my book. In our book, he ain't paid his dues. Go Fight Live people be sitting there like,
man, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
They don't know what the hell to do. If Shelton Benjamin, if we depended on that bitch to get this show ready. But see, that's what you do as a pro wrestler. As a pro wrestler, that's what the hell you do. But y'all can't relate to that. Y'all millionaires, man. We get up every single day, go to work, support the kids, support the wife. Every single day, man. We don't get sit down on the beach in Tampa, hold our balls, get a suntan, and then do a little show. Next thing you know, we called up, we millionaires, and they like that for us. We're not cosmetically pleasing enough for that shit. Y'all had no idea, man. Looking at foreclosures and shit. I'm getting ready to get foreclosed on. At least that's what they say, but I'm gonna make it through. Trust me, I'm a grinder, baby.
You ain't got to worry about that. You ain't got to worry about though. You ain't got to worry about that though. Big money. You know, you need a little knee surgery. You spring your pinky finger or something. That's on Vinnie Mac to have.
Yeah, Vinny
All
covered
right.
that.
Shoot, I'm still paying off my bills from Detroit. Look it up.
Yeah, Detroit. WrestleMania weekend, a few years back. Look that up. Look that up.
I'm paying that for the rest of my life.
Hey, but that's all right. Hey, back to the topic, though. Shelton Benjamin, you got an easy ride, boy. In our eyes, that's why your ribs taped up. Charlie Haas, you ain't much better either. That's why your ribs taped up, Shelton Benjamin, on some David Otunga shit. Jennifer Hudson, my ass. You look better when you was fat, bitch. Shit. But back to the topic. This Friday night, you can look at it however you want to. You can look at it as WWE versus ROH. You can look at it as sports entertainment versus pro wrestling. You can look at it as complacent, satisfied rich people versus hungry, still coming at your ass, poor people that don't give a shit because we still coming. They ain't got nothing to lose. Bottom line is, it's the world's greatest tag team versus them boys. And I don't like to say, I don't like to use the term biggest match of our career, but never in the 12 years that we've been doing this shit have we had so much to prove. The belts don't be nothing. It's gonna be 7 times regardless. Charlie Haas, Shelton Benjamin. This Friday night, we got to prove a point, boys.
Yes.
That's why I love them. They were so raw. They were so real. That was just part of the reason I love the Briscoes.
Yeah.
Although I'm glad Vinnie Mac never got a hold of them.
Yeah, he would have ruined them.
Yeah, he would have. He would have.
Triple H would have had a better shot at making it work.
Yeah.
Which also, shout out, Triple H actually mentioned it on TV a couple times last week. Put Jay over, put the Briscoes over on Friday. So that would not have happened if Vince was running things. If it doesn't happen in WWE, it doesn't happen in Vince's eyes. But this isn't. That's neither here nor there. I didn't see the match. Well, I wasn't at the match that they were plugging on that show. But I did see the Briscoes and Haas and Benjamin have a match about a year before that, and this marvelous, just outstanding. And yeah, it's about how it went. Haas and Benjamin were the polished wrestlers, and then the Briscoes just came in swinging, So
It is pretty funny though, because I remember also back in my misspent wrestling youth, like I could never get a tape of them, but all I heard about on the indie scene for years was Russ and Charlie Haas.
yeah,
And
I never saw Russ.
And I remember they got to FCW, right, or something like that, and then Russ passed away. OVW and Russ passed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like, man, like that would have been a dream match because Briscoes versus the Haas's. From what I don't know if I've ever seen a Haas Brothers match. I mean, Charlie was fantastic.
Yeah.
And Shelton is a freak of nature. I mean, they were really good, but much like now with Otis and Chad Gable, like they didn't ever do anything with them.
Well, Russ and Charlie were supposed to be Team Angle.
Yeah.
Back in 2002. But that's one of the things I remember on, I think it was Raw, and JR and the King actually mentioned when Russ died. And I never heard of him. But I thought, well, he must really be something if they're mentioning him on TV. And then I remember when Charlie debuted with Shelton, and that's when it kind of started to make sense. But yeah, that was one that would have been awesome to see if Russ would have made it. I'm seeing some on YouTube. Here's one you'll appreciate, Gary. The Haas Brothers versus Lash LaRue and Kaz Hayashi from HWA. So
Lash and Kaz.
And so yeah, there's some stuff with Russ and Charlie on there. But yeah, there was. I think and I don't know how much Ring of Honor you watched, Gary, back in the day, like the first 10, 15 years, they always had a completely stacked tag team division there. The Briscoes were obviously the highlight, but then you've got your Second City Saints, you got your Havana Pit Bulls, uh, Generation Next when it was Strong and Aries, Kings of Wrestling. They had every major tag team that wasn't signed to a contract made it to Ring of Honor at one point or another, and they all, if and that was the thing, if they wanted to get tested, they got put in the ring with the Briscoes, and 9 times out of 10, the Briscoes would take it. But the one that sticks out the most is Kevin Steen, when Steen and El Generico showed up in well, they showed up in like 05, but they signed with Ring of Honor in 07, and they had probably a good 5 or 6 month feud between the two of them, with the two teams, and that was the thing that Mark mentioned in that promo when he talked about Detroit. That was during that feud. He suffered a concussion. He took a bump out onto the concrete. I think it wound up putting him in I don't know if it put him in a coma for a couple days, but it really messed him up. And yeah, and he said that promo was from like 5 years later, and yeah, he said he was still paying that shit off. So yeah, then that progressed, and then of course then Steen and Generico have the ladder war with the Briscoes in October, and and Kevin Steen, Kevin Owens, for the few that don't know, he credited the Briscoes with really getting him over in Ring of Honor, like from the get go. Him and Tyler Black also said that, Seth Rollins. So it's like, that's the one thing I always appreciate about the Briscoes. They were willing to work with everybody, and they, even if they won the match, they would make everybody look like $1 million that got in the ring with them.
You know, it's another art form that's missing from wrestling now. Is just everybody's so worried about getting their stuff in
Mm-hmm.
that they stopped worrying about making their opponent look good. Like, that was usually the main part of working with somebody on top. It wasn't just that, you know, in the old days you got more money because you were working higher on the card. But like now, like the idea is, hey, I'm going to put you with somebody higher up and make you look good, and it's lost because it's just, well, I got my spots and you got your spots, and congratulations.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
the
Briscoes, and like I think probably the guys I think about are like FTR. Like, they always make their opponent look like $1 million. Like that segment they did with years ago with the old dudes from DX, where they just fed and bumped. That made DX look like they could actually still do something. Or the NWO. I don't remember what it was. Yeah, NWO.
Yeah, it was the Click. It was the Click.
Yeah, it's all the same thing.
Yeah,
all the same dudes. But like, yeah, they just fed and bumped, made those guys look like $1 million. They could have went out there and sliced bumps. They could have went out there and done the old Shawn Michaels versus Hogan, you know, over exaggerated bumps. But they didn't. And so
classic.
like,
I missed that YouTube video.
It's another testament to the Briscoes and Jay, you know, just going out and doing your job, making other people look good, not trying to cut people's legs out from underneath them. Because yeah, I read the post that Owens wrote, and how he credited Jay and Mark with basically creating his career, because they could have cut their legs out first night, but instead they just said, hey, let's go out best match on the card. I mean, it's sad on so many levels, because you had these guys that everybody respected that were still doing it at a high level, that could still pass on the art form that is wrestling. And now you don't. I mean, you'll have Mark will stick around, but it will never be
It won't be the same
same
Yeah.
thing. And tag team wrestling is just a hard thing to keep people motivated to do because it's such an individual sport. You want
Yeah.
to go out and shine. Like you got guys like FTR, you got guys like the Briscoes, you got a few other teams like New Day and stuff that
Yeah.
aren't interested in not being a team. They
I'd
want to
throw
be
the
a team.
machine guns in there too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they keep getting back together.
Yeah.
And like Anderson and Gallows, like those guys will still do business. And so it's a dying art. Tag team wrestling is some good tag team wrestling is some of my favorite wrestling of all time.
Oh yeah. Everybody
And
knows me. Knows I love tag team wrestling.
so it's just sad on so many levels.
Yeah. So you mentioned art. Gary, did you know that Jay Briscoe was a poet?
I did not.
I feel compelled to. We got another promo for you. This is them talking about the Young Bucks. So this should be interesting. The Cucamonga Kids, as Menders likes to call them.
I do. I call them the Cucamonga Kids.
The Young Fucks, as Corny
The
calls
Young
them.
Fucks, as Courtney calls them.
All right. All right. So here we go.
Reach for the sky, boy.
Oh, shit! Sunday night, baby, New York City, the big ROH 10-year anniversary. Shit's going down. 10 years, baby. Man, it's crazy when you think about it. It's been 10 years already. Seems like just yesterday I was wrestling Amazing Red. But you know how the old saying goes, time flies when you whooping ass. Them boys been whooping ass for 10 years now. We can sit here and tell you how we've been whooping ass for 10 years. Like Samoa Joe ass, CM Punk ass, Bryan Daniel ass, Chris Daniel ass, Homicide ass, another such ass is Brian Kendrick, Evan Bourne, Mitch Franklin, Paul London, AJ Styles. But we don't got time for that right now. Ain't no time for all that. Ain't no time to sit back and reminisce. We'll do that shit when we old and retired. Ain't no time to be reminiscing, because in case y'all can't tell, the Briscoes is on a warpath right now. And we mowing down anybody that get in the way. And it just so happens that the Young Bucks, y'all boys right in the line of fire. But when I see the Young Bucks, man, I can't help but think, y'all look like two little girls, man. Y'all look like two pretty little girls. And when I see two pretty little girls, being the gentleman that I am, I write them a poem. So here's to y'all, Young Bucks. Roses is red, violets is blue. The Young Bucks got long pretty hair like a girl do. So Sunday in New York, we're gonna have to make them our bitches. And y'all probably gonna go back to California with stitches. Now if y'all can't be in New York to watch us make them girls scream and holler, you can order that sumbitch on pay-per-view. It's only $10. GoFightLive.tv, baby. Big 10-year anniversary. You don't want to miss this shit. I promise you. That was beautiful.
Oh,
Everything about that just tickles me.
it's great. Oh, the Cucamonga Kids. Oh, jeez.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they've been
I
running
gotta
around with
think.
Corny a bit, so they ran around with Corny a bit, and
I'm sure that poem brought a tear to Corny's eye if you ever saw that
I'm
promo.
sure it did.
Grammar notwithstanding. Roses
Yeah.
is red, violets is blue. But,
Yeah.
hey, Menders, we got a buddy. Big man Chan is
Oh, well,
in the chat here.
hello.
Chan, we're going to be reaching out to you about some other business here before too long, man. But he's a big fan of the Briscoes, like all of us are. We've been talking about the tag team most of the episode, guys. I want to talk about Jay's singles run. Well, he's always been doing singles. He had a smattering of world title shots over the first 10 years of Ring of Honor. But I've been going back. I've been on Honor Club watching a bunch of old shows the last pretty much all week. And I came across Death Before Dishonor 2012. 2012, 2013 was one of those. Uh, and that's the one where he beat Kevin Steen for the world title for his first one. And yeah, he didn't get a long run with that first time because he got hurt. He was working hurt. He came into that match with I think a separated shoulder or something. But he worked through it and then just made it worse. So, but when he won the second time, he beat Mike Elgin in 2014, I think it was. Guy that I know from the Indies. I mean,
Mhm.
as good as he was in Japan, I knew him when he was working for IWA, Gary. But but
IWA.
that's yeah.
IWA.
And that's what, as an aside, Ian had booked the Briscoes for one of the TPIs. I think he booked them for the '09 TPI, but the tournament wound up getting canceled for various reasons. I won't get into that. But that was,
reasons.
I don't know. That's neither here nor there. But so that was going to be my first time seeing the Briscoes live. I had to wait a couple more years to do it, but I was ready. That was going to be in Joliet at the Hartman Rec Center, basically a school, like a grade school gym. Cool place though. But anyway, I'm getting off track. Big surprise is right there behind me, jumping the rail. I do it. Finally got the flag from Marco's house up. But no, he beat Elgin, and then he went about 2 years without taking a loss. Because I think he was undefeated until Jay Lethal beat him for the world title in 2016. But the fact that they basically, and they were still working tag matches here and there, but Jay put that off to the side just to make a run for the world title. And I don't know if that was his idea, if that was I think Delirious was booking at the time, but to take the most over tag team probably in the country at that point and take Jay, who, and I've said it. I mean, anybody that knows me knows I've been singing Jay Briscoe's praises as a singles wrestler for years. Uh, his style was where Mark was more of the car crash style. You know, he did the dives and crazy shit. Jay, he was just knock the fuck out of you. Uh, Minders, I'm looking at your T-shirt.
I
Very
was gonna say, I'm like,
stylish.
boss fight.
Yeah. If there was ever a hoss in Ring of Honor, it was Jay Briscoe. Hey, Minders, where did you get that shirt?
I got it at prowrestlingtees.com/JTR podcast. Is that what all of it is?
Almost JTR Pod. You're close.
There you go,
But
JTR pod.
now, yeah, now I didn't ask that to shamelessly shill our own products because that would be
That's all right.
off color. But
all right.
I did say it for a reason because ProWrestlingTees.com, they are selling a T-shirt, and here's the picture of it. Jay Briscoe tribute, Reach for the Sky, and if you go do that, all the proceeds from this shirt will go to his family to support them. I've already ordered mine yesterday. Yeah, you can go to ProWrestlingTees.com. It's the first thing that pops up when you get that little pop-up window that comes up, or go ShopHonor.com, which takes you to the same link. And yeah, it's a cool looking shirt. So I ordered mine, and yeah, so every little bit helps for the family, you know. So I just wanted to make sure I got that out there. Also, I'm thinking that I do have a link. Yeah, and I put this up earlier. There is it's not a GoFundMe, but it's the same idea. To donate, there's a link here, and I'll put these links in the show notes, like when the podcast drops. Also, on the same subject, I think Tony Khan actually said he's gonna take care of the family. Also, I think he's gonna cover, and I'm not trying to assume or anything. But I think he said he's gonna help out with the medical expenses, all that kind of stuff. So kudos to him. But let's get back to happier business, which is Jay's run. Yeah. Did you ever see the match with Jay Lethal, Gary?
No.
Oh man, it's good. That's actually, I've been posting like random matches all day long on the Jumping the Rail Facebook page. That one is going to be going up right after we go off the air when I get a chance to get back into it. But it was probably a good 35-minute match if I just thinking off the top of my head. And it was, nobody had really given Jay Lethal shake as a main eventer, as a world champion. He was the TV champion, but that's the match that really made him a star in my book. And I was always a fan of Jay Lethal, but same deal. Jay Briscoe put him over. Uh, it's not hard to get a great match out of Jay Lethal. It's not hard to get a great match out of Jay Briscoe, but just those two guys together was just magic. And I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna watch that match again later on today. But it kind of
You're talking about that. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
no. Go ahead.
And I know we're talking about Jay, but I actually went back and saw some of the promos with Adam Cole when all that was going on. When Adam
Oh,
Cole
yeah.
attacked Papa Briscoe.
Oh, Papa
So
Briscoe. I could go
yeah,
on about Papa Briscoe.
love Papa Briscoe.
I still remember when Chris Hero knocked the crap out of him.
Hmm
That actually led to one of the more entertaining matches that I remember. It was Final Battle 2010. It was the Kings of Wrestling, Claudio and Hero, with Shane Hagedorn in a 6-man tag team match against the Briscoes and Papa Mike Briscoe.
Yep.
And it was ridiculous. Dad kind of had a lip lock with Sarah Del Rey on the outside, much to Dave Prazak's horror. And the finish was a double doomsday device. Dad came off the top rope.
You know, Corny actually he did on his the last drive-through. Have you had a chance to listen to it yet, Mark?
I haven't had a chance. It's in my queue. I just didn't had time to listen to it yet.
Yeah, you should. The first hour of that is dedicated to Jay. And some of the stories he tells, I think it was even that match that he was talking about, the triple tag team, that they even tried to pay Papa and Papa wouldn't take it. He's like, nah, I'm good. I'm just like, okay. But yeah,
He's helping out the boys.
Cornette had a lot to say about Jay. A lot of good things to say about Jay.
Yeah, I know Corny was very fond of the Briscoes. I mean,
Yeah, he was.
shit, he doesn't just manage everybody, and he managed the Briscoes early on. There was a story Tommy Dreamer told on Busted Open when he brought the Briscoes into House of Hardcore. And they didn't work a match. They just came in. They jumped him and Bully Ray like after a match or something, just real short, real running. And he said he tried to pay him, and they said no. They said no.
Yeah.
It's all. So it's kind of that farm mentality. It's like, we didn't do anything.
Yeah.
He said that's literally what they told us. Like, we didn't do anything. Yeah. So, but yeah, these guys are the epitome of just blue collar. And I'm a farm boy. I'm not to that degree. I didn't grow up on a working farm. It was a hay farm, but I mean, we had chickens, but we didn't have thousands of chickens like the Briscoes do.
That's still one of my favorite matches, though, too, was Mark and Jay. When they did
the
chicken
Fight on the Farm?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's not
such a good match.
On the Facebook page. Yeah, those two, that's some of my favorite matches were the ones where they wrestled each other.
Well, you know what they say, when you wrestle your best friend, there's nobody you're going to hit harder.
That's true.
And for them to be brothers, yeah, there's definitely nobody you're going to hit harder than you're going to hit your brother.
Yeah, because you know that you're going to get a receipt if you.
Exactly. Oh, shoot.
But yeah, they had a few doozies like that. They had Mark's first Ring of Honor match was against Jay back in 2002, and Mark beat him in Boston. And then they had a match. They wrestled several times in Ring of Honor. They had a match after they lost the tag titles. They had the man up. So they had the man up match. It was them one-on-one. It went to like a draw because they just knocked the crap out of each other and like knocked each other out. And then when Jay was world champion, Mark got a title shot. And it was interesting. Jay won, but neither one of them was in really good shape.
Well, like even with that fight at the farm, at the end of it, isn't it? At the end of it, Papa goes, "Okay, did y'all get that out of your system now? Can we move on?"
Yeah. There's another promo I'm gonna bring up while I'm thinking about it, but we'll keep talking here. There were some matchups that Jay had when he was world champion that you wouldn't think would have worked like to the level that they did. I mean, it wasn't for lack of skill by anybody, but like him with Adam Cole seemed like an odd pairing. you know, Jay is a very rough guy. You know, works very stiff. Adam Cole's not. He's a lot more technical, a lot smoother. And they had a heck of a feud. It was around the time that Jay had that when Adam was the world champion, but then Jay was carrying around the camo belt. I don't know if you remember that one or not. But and then yeah, they just have ladder matches, street fights, all kinds of stuff, and it was really good. And hang on, let me get this over here. I apologize. So, for anybody that's just joining us, welcome. I'm going to put it out if you guys are listening. If you've got a favorite Briscoes match, put it in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. So I will. This is a promo, Gary, that came out is when they were working heel, and I forget who they. I think they were working the Bucks, but it's Papa Briscoe at his finest here. Let me get this to pop up
I love Papa
because
Briscoe.
the Papa he wouldn't take any shit from those boys.
Nope.
Come on, keep processing. Here we go. All right, so here it is.
Look, he's stomping.
Look at
He's
him.
stomping. What you about to do,
Look
son?
at him.
What you about to
Hey,
do?
they gonna finish it.
Hey, they think
gonna
they is.
finish
Hey,
it.
they think they is. Watch this. Hey,
Hold on.
Look at that.
Referee, get the chair out
Hey,
the
do you
ring.
downtown? Get the chair out
the ring.
Get the chair out.
Watch this.
Hey, here it come. Here. There it is. Look at him holding his nuts.
Hey,
Hold your
watch
nuts,
this,
boy.
watch this. Slip it.
Slip him. Yes, sir. That's it.
Time
Hold
to
your
sleep.
nuts. Give me that tag, baby.
Time
Legal
to
man.
sleep.
Legal man.
Time to go sleep.
Hey,
You go sleep.
That's it. On
Hey.
his head, baby. Boom.
You ice your neck and your nuts.
Ice your neck and your nuts, boy. 1, 2, 3. And still, baby. Go put ice on your nuts and your neck, young boy.
Too easy, baby. Too easy. That's what I'm talking
Talk about, baby.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Ho.
You boys proud of yourselves, ain't you? Proud of yourselves.
We the champs, big man.
9 times.
Yes, sir.
9-time champ.
You said it.
just kicked the little boy in his nuts to win the match.
He did that.
Just kicked the little boy in his nuts to
Man,
win
you
the
did.
match.
You kicked him.
Dad, look. I ain't
Told
had-
you you
I-
should have kicked him.
Man, I ain't have to kick that man in his nuts. I chose to kick him in his nuts.
Baddest tag team on the planet. Kicked the little boy in his nuts to win the match.
Listen, big man, for one, we're not losing these belts. And like I told you, I didn't have to kick him in the nuts. You act like they was going to beat us anyway. I chose to kick him in the nuts.
Hey, either way you look at it, Dad, we ready, baby. We got these straps. We in prime physical condition. We focus, baby. Young Bucks, Baltimore. Let's go.
Whoa!
Steamroller
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Baltimore.
Pay-per-view.
Young Bucks.
Pay-per-view.
Boys, have you forgot Saturday night? You got the Killer Elite Squad. The Killer Elite Squad. They ain't no little boys. They'll pound your ass in the ground if you're not ready. Saturday night.
We got this.
Killer Elite Squad.
We ain't gonna lose.
We got
good.
this. These ain't going nowhere.
We in there. We good.
I love how their demeanor changes from when they think it's just the two of them, and then Papa comes in. Hi, Dad.
I liked when Jay tried to throw Mark under the bus. Like he kicked him.
He did it.
But yeah, any good country boy knows that Daddy's going to hold you accountable when you when you act like a dick.
A fool.
And I was wrong. That wasn't the Young Bucks. That was actually the Tempura Boys, who wound up being Sho and Yo in New Japan when they were over on excursion. So I was wrong about that. But yes, Papa Briscoe never trained a day in his life to be in the wrestling business, but he's a natural.
Yes.
Just
he
he's a
is.
natural promo, and he's had a few matches. I forget who all he's wrestled, but usually if they're a team of somebody who has a manager who's a pain in the ass, they bring Dad in. And I'm good. The wife says headset sounds good. That makes me feel good that I made a sound investment here.
I told you.
Yeah, you told me. But yeah, it's with. I think, and I'm going to do something. I'm gonna just say we're not doing the top 10 Tuesday this week. I wanted to put all the time in for Jay here, but we are gonna do our JTR Hall of Fame, and I'm not trying to shine anybody up or anything, but it's kind of a no-brainer today. I got the Briscoes going in. It was going to happen at some point anyway, but it just made sense to do it today. So that way they get their spot in. Not that it means anything to anybody.
It's our Hall of Fame. So
That's right. That's right. Who knows? Maybe someday we'll do a 0-1 Hall of Fame members, but yeah, just PWI put out their top 100 tag team list, whatever number it is that they do.
I wondered if you'd talk about this.
I'm going to bring it up.
Okay.
Numbers 1, 2, and 3 could probably be interchangeable, if you ask me. Number 1 was
Usos.
Was one of the Usos. Number 2 was FTR. I didn't know if it was one way or the other. Then number 3 was the Briscoes. There's arguments made for everybody. I said FTR was tag team of the year last year on our year in review episode, but if you look at what the Briscoes did, and I'm just talking about 2022, everywhere they went, they won GCW's tag titles. They won House of Glory, Impact, Ring of Honor. If Time Warner would have gotten off their ass and let them go to AEW, they probably would have won those too. So
we can only hope.
Yeah, it's but they have the reputation across worldwide. They'll go anywhere. They went, like I said before, they were New Japan champions. They were Noah, the UK, some wherever promotions they went over there, they would usually get the titles over there. So it's just crazy to think that, and this isn't a knock on the writers from PWI, but as far as your average run-of-the-mill wrestling fans go that watch Dynamite, they watch. I'm going to leave AEW fans out of this because they know Ring of Honor, but I'm talking WWE fans that never heard of the Briscoes or maybe heard them in passing, or they always would ask, "Oh, are they related to Jack and Jerry Briscoe?" You always have to say no.
Oh, they're human beings. That's about as close.
They are the same. They are the same species. They are Homo sapiens. Yeah. But no, it's like they're WWE fans. For the most, the run of the mill guys, not the smart guys like me or you guys. They're kind of in a bubble where they don't know a Briscoe brothers or like the All Night Express when they were around. Jimmy Jacobs, Generation X, all these. So they don't know to give the credit where it's due for the Briscoes for just how good of a team they are, or were. But
lists are so. They used to be I remember reading the Pro Wrestling Illustrated and I would read it like it was a book out of the Bible.
Yeah.
It had the top finishers, it had the top, and then I remember the year. I don't remember who got top wrestler, but I knew that things had changed. It was somebody that was just kind of popular in the WWE, and I was just they're not a good wrestler though. They're just popular, and I was like, oh. And after that, it changed. And it's a different sport, but it's kind of the same thing. I just read ESPN had rated the top 10 third basemen in baseball, and they had Nolan Arenado at number 5.
Oh, current?
Yeah.
How's he not in the top 2?
I don't know. Maybe between him and Machado. That's about it. That's the discussion. Maybe. But lists have become so dumb.
Yeah.
It's just
it's all subjective,
at least your list. I know you because I know you. You spend way too much time investing in all your lists and your picks. And if you were asked why did you pick this, you would say, well, originally I picked this, but then I changed it to this. You would have every reason. So
you're making it sound sad.
It's dedication.
Make me sound like Dave LaGreca with his
It's
laminated
dogged
list.
dedication. But yeah, like having we talked about this with our tops of the year. I am so tired of the Usos that they wouldn't even be in my top 5 because I've seen everything they do. I can tell you how that match is going to play out before anything happens. Like, but with FTR, the Briscoes, there's a few other teams that there is still new things to be seen, and they're top of their game. And yeah, it's dumb. Like FTR and the Briscoes should have been. You could have probably said tied 1 and 2, or just said, hey,
It's 1 and 1A almost.
1 and 1A. Yeah, it's just because there may be nobody besides the Briscoes because they proved it. Like they went in and proved it. Like when FTR wrestles somebody, they always look great, but they don't necessarily keep up. But like the Briscoes not only kept up, they pushed them.
Yeah,
they pushed them to do more, to do better, to figure something new out. And man, like there's hardly anything new under the sun. Those guys pushed each other to the very limits of like tag team wrestling. Yeah. So yeah, to me it would be 1 and 1A, and then you could pick basically any other team known to man, in my opinion, than the Usos to be number 3. You could pick, I don't know, like Axe and Smash. They're still, to me, at this point in their lives, better tag team than the Usos. Like, old Barry Darsow can probably still lay some up.
Well, wasn't it Jay that was it on his Twitter that he said, hey, we came in at number 3. Wouldn't it have been amazing if we could have been on national television where we would have been? Yeah. It's the truth. It really is the truth. I think if more people would have got their eyes on the Briscoes, they would have got it. But
yeah, I'm
sure that's what Tony had in mind when he put the belts back on them before he really started launching Ring of Honor again. Was he wanted them to spearhead it, and Claudio and people that were kind of Ring of Honor related. And like you were talking about, the Briscoes are not only synonymous, they are Ring of Honor. They never left. They never held them up for money. They stayed. They were loyal. They put people over. They won pretty much everything you could win in a company.
Yeah, I think the only thing that never happened that I thought would have, and it still may, you never know, I thought Mark would have been a TV champion at some point. I don't know if I'd put Mark in the world title conversation, really, but for as over as he is, and he's a damn good wrestler, I always put Jay just a little bit above him, like skill-wise, but again, I'm more of a fan of Jay's style than Mark's style. That's just a preference. And we mentioned we were talking about when Jay and Mark wrestled. It is promo time. We got another one. This is the build-up to when Jay was defending against Mark during his first title run.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name's Jay Briscoe, ROH World Heavyweight Champion. If you got a problem with that, do something about it, pussy. You see, boys and girls, it's not a playground out there, it's a battlefield. But y'all too busy playing tiddlywinks to realize that shit. Now, I know it's been a long time since I got on this here YouTube talking to you folks, but I've been a busy man. You see, I'm the champ. I got to defend my title. Been busy whooping people's asses. Ask Davey Richards. Ask Eddie Edwards, BJ Whitmer, ask Adam Cole. I'm a busy man. And on top of that, I'm getting this World Heavyweight Champion money. So I've been busy, buying button-ups, eating lobster and shit. Hell, I even make donations to charities now. I ain't shooting you. But But yeah, it's been a long time since I've been on this YouTube, and it's something that's been sitting kind of heavy on my heart that I just wanted to talk to you folks about. You can just give me attention for 1 minute. I can't believe, I see the light now, people. I see the light. I can't believe I used to think the way I did. I can't believe I used to think like that. I can't believe I used to think that I could trust my brother. My own big head brother want to walk down on me in Toronto, Canada and challenge me for this belt. Of all people, chicken. Of all people, chicken, you know how I get, man. You know how I get, man. I'm crazy. Come on, chicken. It's supposed to be us versus the world, man. It's supposed to be us versus the world. You the last man I can trust in wrestling. What's up with that shit, man? What you mad, chicken? You ain't got no belt? You mad because you ain't got no belt? Hey, ain't my fault, man. Truth Martini distracted you with them titties. You got distracted by whores in Canada. You could have had the TV title, but now you was getting distracted. It ain't my fault, chicken. What you mad at me for, man? Come on, chicken. Of all people, chicken. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all something about Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe, he's a father of two. He's supporting the family. He has 3 sources of income. He gets a paycheck from Ring of Honor. He gets a paycheck from Dad, and he gets a paycheck from me. I'm trying to help support his family. And that ungrateful, big-nosed, big-lipped son of a bitch want to walk down and challenge me for this belt. You ought to know better than that, boy. You ought to know better than that, chicken. Let me tell you. Just let me tell you, Baltimore, I don't have any more opponents to worry about. We off this weekend, next Saturday night, June the 22nd at the Dew Burns Arena. Jay Briscoe versus Mark Briscoe. This shit's getting ready to hit the fan, baby. All of Sussex County, Delaware gonna be there. Chicken, I just gonna have to put it like this. I'm just gonna have to tell you like this, chicken. In front of your kids, in front of your wife, in front of your dad, in front of your mom, in front of all your friends and family, I'm gonna whoop your ass, boy.
So he's not afraid to go hard on his brother there with the insults.
Perfect.
Oh, there's another video out there of Mark's rebuttal that is epic. It's basically him at the shooting range just firing weapons. And kind of illustrates how different, like Jay, well, that you can't tell from this promo that he's the more level-headed brother. But
That's like an oxymoron right there, but okay.
a little. But yeah, Mark is definitely the crazier of the two. And I always said when Mark had the long hair and like he cut up his camos and the fringe, I always said he looked like a Sasquatch. And that's not a knock on Mark Briscoe, but he always had that because he had the 2 front teeth out, had the beard, had the hair. He looked like something he looked like a Bigfoot. And then converse that with Jay, who always just looked like he was going to beat the crap out of you.
Yeah.
That's all you can. That's really all you have to say. So we decided we're not going to go the usual 2 hours on this episode. We just, honestly, I was worried that I was going to run out of stuff to talk about Jay Briscoe. So we're going to cut this to about an hour and a half. So we got about 15 minutes left. So I'm going to put you guys on the spot. I'm going to start with you, Menders. What is your favorite Briscoe match, either singles or as a tag team?
Well, mine would have to be, like I said earlier, it's the fight on the farm. See, you have to understand, I quit watching wrestling for a while, so I didn't even really know about Ring of Honor. Yeah, right? You wouldn't know it now, that's for sure, because wrestling's like a main piece of my life right now. But there for a while, there's about 10, 12 years that I quit watching wrestling, and lo and behold, guess what years they were? So when I came back, that's when I started getting back into everything. That was when like Steen and El Generico, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens came back into NXT. And that kind of opened my eyes back up to like ROH and different ones like that. So when I started getting back into it, I think the first one I watched was right around Fight on the Farm. And I was like, Yep, these boys remind me of everyone that I went to school with. And just watching them work, watching how they interacted, fell in love. And then right around that time's when FTR came into NXT, and like it's that was about the time I started liking those guys too. And then when they started working together, that first FTR Briscoes match, oh buddy, that was the
Yeah.
only. I mean, that was just like that was the only reason I bought that pay-per-view. It was the only reason.
Yeah.
So the only reason a lot of people bought it. So that was when I really fell in love with the Briscoes.
Yeah.
So it was in their later years. So
Okay.
I've had to go back and catch up and see. I watched the match today with Kings of Wrestling with just the two, just Claudio and Hero
Hero. Yeah.
against the Dim Boys. So, and watching that, I was like, man, I really missed out on a lot when I quit
Yeah.
watching.
Oh man. If the Briscoes are my favorite tag team, the Kings are probably right up there. As I've always been a big Hero fan, and then Claudio, speaks for itself.
Yeah.
It goes something that needs to be mentioned is when Ring of Honor first started getting on pay-per-view about 2007, for at least the first couple years, and then spread out over time. A lot of times the Briscoes were the main event. They were like, even if there was a world title match, usually the Briscoes were going on last, and a lot of times it was with Steen and Generico. And then when the Age of the Fall happened, then they would get thrown in there. But yeah, so that shows how much faith that not just Gabe Sapolsky, who founded Ring of Honor, but then Adam Pearce, when he was the booker there, Delirious, or whoever's doing, well, Tony's doing it now, so he's added to that. That shows how much stock they put into the Briscoes to be a draw, because they were the main event stars in Ring of Honor, because everybody else, and we talked about it, Joe went away, Aries went away, Punk went away, AJ, all these guys, they found greener pastures, but the Briscoes stuck around and just dug their heels in.
Well, I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that ROH was always willing to work with their family, though, too. Because that, like I said, when Corny was talking about him, he said, that was one thing whenever they were at Philadelphia, they would bring, they'd just go down in an RV and the whole family would come.
It was like 40 some odd relatives would all come in.
Yeah.
They talked about that on Busted Open also.
So, I can get it if the company that you're working for is willing to work with your family too.
Yeah.
And show you the respect that you're showing them, stick with it.
Yeah.
If it makes you happy.
Yeah. And with them working on the farm with their dad, I don't know that they could have pulled off a 300-day schedule for WWE. I think they liked doing the indie grind so they could go back home and do their
Well, they
thing.
were their own boss.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, basically.
Yeah. Gary, favorite Briscoes match?
I haven't seen nearly as many as you guys, but probably just because it was just, there were some, as I would call, dumb spots in it, but the dog collar match.
Oh, the dog collar. That was actually a damn good match.
Was like that spot where he takes the bump on the chairs from the turn, like that could have ended so badly, like in so many different ways.
But only Mark Briscoe was nuts enough to take that bump.
But yeah, that was a really good match that could have ended so bad, but the teams were so good that they ended up pulling it off. Now, like, you hear Dax and Cash talk about it, they weren't walking right for a while after that because they're just tailbones and everything else. And those
they had to go to
matches
Japan.
Those matches will take time off of your career.
Yeah.
And
the old bump card is only so full.
Yeah, it was just a really, and man, like, you watch enough gimmick matches, you've seen all the gimmick matches. And the reason I like that is the same reason I like Punk and MJF style color match. It still seemed different.
Yeah.
It wasn't your regular, like, two guys tied together match. which sounds hilarious because only in professional wrestling can you get tired of two dudes just tied together with a chain.
Yeah.
Like you're like, how many times do I gotta watch that?
Yeah.
Well, how many times has it been on TV? Like that's crazy that it's like, oh, that guy, that 14th cage match I watched. Yeah, it's professional wrestling.
Well,
But when you can bring something new and a different feeling, and the way those two teams work together, not only in the ring but on promos against each other, and how they promote off each other, how they both made you believe that even though they really didn't like each other, how much respect there still was.
Yeah.
Like, and they were able to interweave that into that. Like, that was it. It really did help, and it really gave you the idea that this could. I was pretty sure that the Briscoes were going to win that last match because it seemed like the FTR was on their way to losing all the titles.
Yeah.
But it still was enough to be like, well, FTR could walk away with this. They could be the guys that Tony wants. But no, Tony is like, no, I build this new division this way, and it gave it everything they had.
Yeah. I've been saying all year ever since that first match, I thought the Briscoes and FTR were going to be this generation's Rock and Roll and Midnight. I thought they were going to be going for years, like going forward. So, but the fact
And
that we got, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and I think they would have had catastrophe not struck.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Everybody talks about all the trilogies out there. You got Flair and Steamboat, Punk and Joe, all these. You got to throw the Briscoes and FTR right up there now after those 3 matches they had this year. Oh, hang on. We got a visit from our buddy Narge.
Yep.
He has a comment. Enjoyed all the Briscoe moments in GCW. So did I. Got the headline Hammerstein. Awesome to see them against JDWM and his partner. I believe that was not Tremont. Reed Bentley, Narge. That was his partner in the Rejects in Chicago. That was a crazy match. I was there for that one. And it was indeed a wild ass match. So
is that the one where somebody ended up in your lap?
No.
Oh,
that
okay. Was that the one Kyler went to?
Yeah. And also I'm gonna make a shout out to Kyler. I guess this hit him pretty hard. This Narge told me this is the first wrestler that he really looked up to that has passed away since he's been a fan. So I guess it hit him hard, and I want to send our good thoughts to him. He's my buddy, so hopefully he's getting through it, and hope it doesn't diminish his fandom. Narge says Bandito was in his lap. Okay, that was it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so Kyler, I think you might be listening. I'm not sure. He might be at the ball game with his mom.
I think he's at the ball game.
Okay. Well, Narge, tell Kyler we're thinking of him, and it is what you guys are family to, not just to the show, but to me. So good thoughts to you guys. I guess I got to say what my favorite Jay Briscoe match is, and actually it's the one I watched yesterday from Death Before Dishonor in 2016, I believe it was. He had a no DQ match with Adam Page that was a real barn burner. This is not long after Page joined the Bullet Club, and it was just them knocking the hell out of each other. Page was still carrying the noose with him because he was started being the Hangman, so that's when that first started. And Page was still pretty new. He had just come out of his run as BJ Whitmer's young boy for like a couple of years, and Briscoe just gave it to him. The surprisingly killed me is this is on a pay-per-view, and Briscoe did the job. Adam Page won the match. It was he hit it was back when the Deadeye was his finish. It wasn't just a setup move, but he did that through a table on the floor, took a chunk out of his own knee, and it was a rough match. It was a hoss fight, that's for sure. And but yeah, that's one because I remember watching that live on pay-per-view, and yeah, that's the one that made me an Adam Page fan back then. And then just my admiration for Jay Briscoe's work is immeasurable. So, uh, what was I gonna say? I want to before we go, we got a few minutes. I want to make sure we get this stuff out here again. Uh, to donate to the Pugh family, here's the link to go to the Gives and Go site. I think their goal was, I forget how much it was, but from the looks
Two
of it,
hundred thousand.
yeah, but I
It's
think they've
$200,000, and when I looked
I th-
days ago, it was like 150 something. Like Chris
yeah, I
Jericho
think
gave him
they've
like $15,000. Kevin Owens gave him
yeah, 10,
$10,000.
yeah,
A
and
bunch of
yeah,
people
I think
donated $1,000 at a time. It was
yeah, it's I think they've eclipsed that by now. But so yeah,
Hold on,
if
I'll
you
look
want
it
to
up
give a
for
little
you, Mark.
more, yeah, and then again the Jay Briscoe T-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees is, where's the picture of it? I've got it somewhere. Oh, that's photos. Here we go. It's nice to be prepared. There's the T-shirt, ProWrestlingTees.com. Again, all the proceeds go to the family, and good thoughts to the family. To what we've been talking about his dad for a lot of the show. Good thoughts to his parents. So obviously, Mark. He's going to be on Dynamite tomorrow. He's going to kill it. It's going to be awesome. And then, of course, his wife and his kids. Good thoughts to them. Speedy recovery to the girls.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I think that's all that really needs to be said there. I mean, it's just a couple more voices along with the chorus wishing them well. And yeah, so just I guess to close for this, I'm just going to say nobody, like, a lot of people talk shit when somebody famous like passes away. It's like, oh, why are you talking about them? And there's other people. And the thing is, and it's not just with pro wrestling, but with music, whatever. People get emotionally invested in these people that we're watching every week, and especially in a case like a lot of indie fans, when you get a chance to meet these guys and talk to them, and there's some wrestlers they'll do a perfunctory hello or just whatever. The Briscoes weren't like that, and I can tell you this from experience because I met them in January, and they took the time to actually have a conversation with me and everybody else that was in the line. It wasn't just a walk up, take a picture, walk off. They wanted to chat with you, and so they're very much about the fans, and that resonates. And so yeah, the thing to remember is before before you throw stones, it's there's a saying that they use on Busted Open a lot, which is give people their flowers while they're still alive, and don't wait till they passed on. And I can say that I was able to do that with the boys when I met them. I made sure that I told them I thought they were the best tag team in the world, which isn't just me kissing ass. I firmly believed that from 2000 to 2022, there was not a better tag team on planet Earth than the Briscoe brothers. And that's just my take. I mean, a lot of times I say things that people disagree with. And so yeah, so along with thinking of the family, I'm thinking of the fans. All you guys. Uh, there hasn't been a wrestler that passed away that hit me like this since Eddie Guerrero died. I'm with you, Gary, on that one.
yeah.
Uh,
I it not it's not a bringing down. It's just more of a confession. Like a few years ago, like Mark knows this because he's basically my brother from a very different mother. but I had a cancer scare where I had to have part of my kidney removed, and it was a very scary time. And I just had a scan, and everything's still good after 2 years. And Mark was one of the first people I told. I think I told you, right? Yeah.
yeah, you told me.
And
I could have played it up and said, "What?"
but but like this kind of thing, because the main thing I took from that was there are people that I love, and I would tell them, but I never like from the day I found out to this time, like, I'm sure people that I know get sick of me telling them that I love them. And it's because of stuff like this. Like, this guy seems to be universally loved. Like, it is easy to tell when somebody wasn't well liked. It's a lot of like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that he went, But Jay seemed to be not just well liked. He seemed to be up on the level of like Brody Lee, just universally loved as a wrestler, as a dude. And I think in the end, that is all that really anybody should be able to hope for in life, is when you pass away, and not that there's a hole left, but people rally around your family and they rally around a cause, and they don't just leave them in the lurch. And it seems to be so like, as much as you guys loved him, like, and I didn't get to watch him as much because I didn't get those tapes to trade, because it was back in the dark ages. I was trying to get New Japan at the time, but it's a glowing resume to leave behind, that people legitimately loved you, and that he would make sure that people knew that he loved them. And I think that's all you can really ask for at the end of the day. And it is probably the best thing that I could say about anybody, is that he was loved and loved people back.
As I say, I don't think there wasn't anybody. I know a couple people had said it. There was hardly anybody that had a bad thing to say about Jay. I mean, even Effie came out and said how much Jay had done for him. So when there's somebody in the community that you find out had that big of an impact on so many people's lives, and then you think about different ones, and like, if something were to happen to Ric Flair, it would upset me, but he's lived his life.
Right.
It's like it gets to that
He's lived
point
19 lives.
Right, exactly.
More lives than a cat.
Exactly. But
He's the
you
Keith
get
Richards of wrestling.
Yeah.
you get to the point though that, like, the older guys, it's like cancer or other issues or whatever. But when something like this happens and it's so out of the blue, and there was no issues that was known, and then it was just a complete and total accident, it's just enough to really knock the breath out of you and catch you off guard.
Yeah.
So
there's a saying, don't cry for them because they're gone, just smile because you had them when you did. And I'm going to choose to do that when it comes to Jay Briscoe. I'll go back and watch his matches for forever. If my nieces and nephews become wrestling fans, I'll put Briscoes on YouTube and show them. And so I think this is a good time to say goodbye for the week. Sorry we didn't get into any Royal Rumble stuff today. I just didn't think it was necessary. I mean, maybe we'll do a if you guys are free sometime, maybe we'll do a YouTube video Rumble review or something. But we'll discuss that offline. But yeah, so our well wishes out to the Pugh family. Rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. He will definitely be missed, and tag team wrestling will not be the same without him. And so for Gary, for Menders, this is Redman, and I say it every week: life is hard, so work stiff, and it's never been more true than it has been this week. So we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Let me break this down for y'all. It's been 7 years since we've been in a ladder war.
Long damn time.
I mean, that's cool, whatever. And since then, there's been a lot of great ladder wars. A lot of young men doing some amazing stuff. Incredible feats.
Acrobatics and
death-defying moments. The matches have been great. They've
Been awesome. Great ladder wars. But now it's 2018, final battle, and them boys is back up in this bitch. And let me tell y'all like this. We don't dance. You know what I mean? We don't dance, people. We kill people. All right? We leave them dead. We kill people, man. The key word here is violence. What we do is violent through and through. I watched all these other ladder wars since last time we was in there. I've seen the great feats of acrobatics, the grace and the precision, the technicality, people flying through the air. But hey, forget all that. Forget all that, it's baby. Going down, baby. It's war time. We're taking them to war. That's what we do. They don't even want the Briscoes in this match, man. We leave them dead. We kill them. We leave them dead. We don't give a shit about SCU. We damn sure don't give a shit about the Young Bucks. Y'all boys don't stand a chance. And Friday night, when it's all said and done, final battle, new 10-time tag team champions. When all that's said and done, y'all people ain't gonna be worried about what the Young Bucks gonna do in 2019. Cause they gonna be dead. SCU, they gonna be dead. And we're gonna be standing tall. We're gonna be telling y'all, bring it, motherfuckers. We them boys. 10 times, baby.